Welcome back to the Pack Chat, our student voice opinion segment. I'm Jack Polishuk, joined by Abby Martinez and Madeline Roberts, and guest co-host Kason Johnson, as we discuss this week's most trending topics. Let's get started. First, Texas Governor Greg Abbott plans on placing a statewide ban on a federal vaccine mandate proposed by President Joe Biden. The order acknowledges that vaccines are strongly encouraged for those eligible to receive one, but must always be voluntary for Texas. So, with conservatives being known to be pro-business and pro-government, do you think this is an example of that?
I feel like I don't know too much about to say enough on it, but I think the federal and the state, how can those counteract and do you know what I'm trying to say?
The federal government, federal law is always going to override state law. And so if he tries to make this happen, it's just going to go to the courts and they're going to ensure that federal law is put in place.
Yeah, people have certain decisions whether they want to get a vaccine or not. I feel like you shouldn't force that on somebody. Mm-hmm. They want to do what they want to do, but it's also, you got to keep in mind, it's important for people to take one for the team, if you know what I mean, because COVID is spreading like wildfire, and some people need to take responsibility and get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw a lot of people comparing this online, a vaccine mandate. I saw people saying, "Oh, why don't you just mandate 8 hours of sleep, or why do you mandate not smoking?" But the difference between that, I feel is people don't realize that that doesn't affect people in the same way getting a vaccine does. You're kind of saving people's lives in a way, and I feel I'm a little on the fence with a mandate, but I do feel if it was to happen, I think in the long run it would be beneficial, and especially because Texas is not in a great state right now for COVID, and Greg Abbott keeps pushing out these, the ban on the mask mandate, and that hurt Texas really badly, and then he's also pushing this out. I just don't understand where he's coming from. I just don't understand why he's doing this, and it's not even going to, eventually people, our school started bringing the mask mandate back. Yeah. It's not going to stop anything. Yeah. It's just going to delay things and make it a bigger problem for the federal court. I just don't really get it.
I don't really understand because it's they can mandate so many other vaccines for to go to school or even go to college. You have to have the measles, and it's the FDA. I know they've already. I don't know about the Moderna, but meningitis. But they already approved not for emergency use, but for normal use. For I know at least the Pfizer vaccine. So I think it's definitely on its way to being mandated, and in the future you're gonna have to have it. But yeah.
Agree. Next, Dave Chappelle is coming under fire for his recent Netflix stand-up, The Closer. Critics are upset at some remarks and jokes that many called out for being offensive to the LGBTQ community, siding with J.K. Rowling, as well as Netflix's unwillingness to pull the program, citing, "We have a strong belief that content on screen doesn't directly translate to real world harm." So, should Netflix pull the special, or do comics get a pass on certain taboos?
There were some leaked emails from Netflix saying that they were going to choose to not pull it because he makes them so much money, which I think a lot of companies are always going to choose profit over controversy. And not every one of them, but in this case, that's what's going on.
I'm still a little, I guess, what's the word? On the fence with the whole situation, because I've never kind of been involved with LGBTQ, I don't know how to say it without tripping over my words, but that's okay. I just never felt like it was my problem. I felt like people should be themselves and not have to, worry about what other people say about them.
Yeah, I come from a different perspective just because Dave Chappelle is personally one of my favorite comedians. I think he's really funny, and I think he's really smart. He blends social commentary and humor so well, and he even does last year he did a special called 846, and it was it wasn't even a stand-up. It was honestly just a speech. There was a little bit of humor in there, but he was mainly talking about the George Floyd protests, and it was very timely. And I think it was really smart, and I think he just does a great job with this stuff usually. But this is kind of disappointing. I expected better from him. I think some of the stuff he said just isn't a great look. I wouldn't want to I don't love the idea of cancel culture. I think it's kind of stupid. I think people have like room to grow. But I do think that he has kind of made these transphobic comments consistently, and it's like a little bit worrying. But I do think he's like really funny, and I know he like isn't hateful in the same way that maybe some people are making him out to be. But I just think that these jokes don't really land, at least for me.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to say what you want to say without people taking it the wrong way. I feel like that's what he was trying to do. I feel like people need to look deeper into that because people can just glaze over stuff and be like, oh, this is what he meant, but that's not always the case here.
Yeah.
Even if they are going to pull it, any publicity is good publicity. So it's just going to make more people watch it now because they want to see what the controversy is about.
Yeah, definitely.
Finally, the South Korean show Squid Games has quickly become one of the most popular Netflix originals. Almost 1/4 of all Americans have watched the show, as well as being critically acclaimed internationally. The show focuses on a contest where 456 players, drawn from different walks of life, but each deeply in debt, play a set of children's games with deadly penalties for losing, for the chance to win 45.6 billion won. So what do y'all think of the show?
Okay, everyone, how do you watch Squid Games? Squid Games. I don't understand. I personally just don't have time for it. I'm sure it's a great show, but I just can't.
So you haven't watched it?
I haven't watched it. I watched the trailer.
Well, how could you say you're not in, like...
I haven't found the time yet, but I guess I'll watch it. I just don't really like understand the concept, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like at first I thought I was like, oh, it's like reality TV. Then I was like, no, it's not. So
just go into the show. Like you don't need to know
what
you just watch it.
Yeah.
Just
I guess.
go into it. Fine.
I've been meaning to watch it for a long time, and what I've seen, I can see why a lot of people like it. It's a very like deeply in-depth story with all these characters with different backgrounds, which are very, very easily shared and very easily like relatable. I mean, I don't know how many people are like that in debt to want to play a game that would risk their lives that much, but.
I mean, I wouldn't really say like the characters are that relatable. I think what I like about the show is that every character isn't necessarily, like every character has flaws, and it's cool to see that like a story where like the main character is kind of like a bad person at the beginning, and he still kind of has those like troubles at the end, but like everybody has these problems, but it's not like, you know, you still like them, you still think they're good characters. It's just cool to see like, oh, they're not perfect people. Like everybody in the show has some kind of issue.
Yeah.
The big argument is whether or not people should watch it with subtitles or should watch it dubbed. I only watched the first episode so far, and I like subtitles better. Like when I watch foreign shows, I always do the subtitles instead of,
Yeah, I agree. I can never like, personally, I just can't stand like the voice acting that dub usually has.
It's very distracting.
Yeah, it's really distracting, and and they usually change the script too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a question. Jack, why do you like the show so much? Like, what makes it pop? What makes it like appeal to you?
I really like the characters. I really like. I like the variety. Like they have all these like games, and they're like really entertaining to watch, but they're also like kind of gruesome. That's what it takes a lot of risks, and the story goes in really interesting places.
Very suspenseful.
Yeah.
It makes you think like what you would do in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we have for today. Remember, T-Wolf Pack, there's always time to chat.